Hello, ladies and gentlemen, James here. You're probably wondering why I got this image. I'm going to tell you it's a story, and I want to let young people know because right now we're living in time that we're living in the supernatural, and you have a lot of young people out here. They would want to try something like this to contact the spirit world, and so it happened to me about 20 some years ago. I used to mess with one of these things, and I mean, I'd have these images like the movie did, but you can easily be possessed by something like this, and something like this can probably come out of the board because this is what this really represents. That's what it represents right there. Back in 1989, back in 89, 90, me and a group of friends of mine was messing around with this board. And I didn't think much about it. And it looks just like this. I didn't think much about it, because, at the time you're young, they say, it's just a game. It's just a game. And so what you do is some people, they turn out the lights and they light candles. And this is something I would not recommend you to do. Because what this thing is, and they made a movie about this, is that if anybody's dabbling in this, do not mess with this. This thing is serious. This thing is real. This thing is authentic. And even though, they sell them at the bookstores, they sell them at different places, I recommend you not get something like this. Because if you do, sometimes Hollywood brings a movie out because you can see these images. And even though that's the images, you can probably see what happened. That it can bring something in you out of you. And you'll see images like this. No joke. This is no joke. And so I want to warn young people, and even those, because people like horror movies and things, but this is really real. This is real. This is real right here. These things been around for centuries. And one time I messed with one years ago by myself, which that was even worse. Because when I did that, this thing kept me up for 2 or 3 days. And this, what kind of image I got? You see this thing right here? This was in my living room. I was by myself. This thing was in the living room. It was this thing. It was actually this tall. And when I looked towards my living room window, I saw this image. This is the image I saw. Messing around with the Ouija board. But I know the reason why I wanted to come today is because if it hadn't been for the angel of God to come into my house, that what you see in the movies being possessed could have happened. This is no joke. So I want to tell young people, if you're out there or any person, do not dabble with this, because you can get an image like this. This thing come out of the pit of hell. Hollywood got this right, because this image came up in my house. This was back when I was living in a town called Youngstown, Ohio, and it was an old house, and it was a creepy looking old house anyway. And then on top of that when I kept on, I was young and I was dumb, and I didn't know what I was doing. Didn't know what I was doing, and the whole atmosphere was pulled up with these spirits that come off this board. And I want to show you the board. But I don't know if it looked horrible like this, but I'm gonna tell you one thing. There was a woman that was a ghostly woman. That it didn't look like her. It looked like that, but she was albino. She had white eyes. She had white hair. She had a brown, like a dirty dress. And the image popped in my head as I was messing around with this thing. So I want to let you know that people think it's a joke. Oh, it ain't real. It's real. This is the devil's tool. Do not mess with this. What happened? Eventually, what I did, I had to get rid of it. I got rid of it, buried it, because a lot of people, don't know. It changes your whole atmosphere and everything. And I was scared. But it can probably make a person look like. And sometimes movies like Ouija this can happen. Even though it's a movie, but somebody who made this movie went to the pit of hell to get this movie, to get these images, because it ain't no joke. When this thing jumps up at you, whatever's in it comes out of the pit of hell, and it makes the images look like this. But I just want to warn people out there in the world, because we in a vulnerable time of the year. And I would suggest you do not mess with something like this, because you can, just like this movie, you can end up like that girl with eyes that look like this, and something will possess you. Or you can have this image right here. I'm not gonna pull it up, but you see it. But I just want to warn. Or you can have a dark image. But I just want, or anything. This can happen. This is no Hollywood, got this out. And even though it's kind of theatrical and a lot of things, but this can open the door. So I just want to let people know, this thing right here is dangerous. It's very dangerous. Do not mess with these things. Do not mess with these things, because it can literally take your mind, and eventually it can, whatever. If God don't have no mercy on you, it can take it. They can lead you to hell, take your life. This is how serious this thing is. But it was by the grace of God, my mind wasn't gone. It was by His grace, because the next day, when whatever was leased out of this board, it was gone. And God let me know, because while that dimension was open, I was able to see God's angel that let me know that it was everything was all right, that they were gone. They let me know by just by their presence. They didn't say, they just let me know that they were gone. But there's warfare. And I just want, because I know there's a lot of young people that's like to get into magic and things like this, and they want to push the limit. I'm here. This happened to me about 30-some years ago, and there's people that's probably got other stories about this. So if you know anybody that's get you in something like this, tell them no. Tell them do not do this, because in the spirit world, in the eternal world, things do happen. Things like this do happen. They do. And one thing about the horror people, because they actually go to witches and warlocks and people who dabble in this stuff, and they get the images. That's why they put them on the screen, and that's why the images you just seen, that's come out of the pit of hell. But also, what I'm saying is, if you mess with something like this, you're gonna get something like this up in your house, in the spirit realm, a shadow of it. And it's by the grace of God that God had a veil over it, because I didn't see this thing. But this is off the movie The Exorcist. This thing is real. This thing you see right here is a demon. This thing is really real. Don't let people tell you, Oh, it's no such thing as a yes. There is a spirit world, and something like this do exist because this thing showed up after messing with a Ouija board. And anybody watch The Exorcist know this movie. This is the movie. This stuff is real, and you can get possessed by something like this. Even by watching horror films, relieves a spirit. So I just want to let people as a warning. So if any young person, any person of any age, whether young, middle age to old, do not mess with this thing. Do not play with it. See, if someone give it to you, get rid of it. If you have one in your home, get rid of it. Throw it out. Bury it in the ground somewhere. Throw it in the river somewhere. Because when you bring something like this into your home, it changes. It really does change the whole atmosphere. And it is into it. This page, the Ouija, the origin of evil. Yes, this not only is this the origin of evil, because that's the name of the movie, but it is that's like a prophecy. Is an origin to the gateway of hell. So, because I want, and I'm kind of, I know it's maybe God made me kind of move on to, because a lot of young people, a lot of people out there like to experiment with something like this because they don't know if it's real, is it real or not. But I'm here to tell you, if you're one of those people, do not push it. Please listen to what I'm telling you. Do not get anything like this. Don't get those cards, those tarot cards. Don't get no Ouija boards. Don't get none of this stuff. Don't go and play Dungeons and Dragons, because that leads to something too. All this leads is to another dimension. I knew people back when I was in my 20s that did this, late teens and 20s, and who knows how their life turned out. But something like this can take your mind. Something like this can take. It can lose your mind, because these spirits will have you doing things on your personality. And some people do get possessed. And so when some people say, I don't know what happened to me, and someone gets some, and the spirit enter to them, they telling you the truth, because it take over their body like a body snatcher, and however, be mean, be vindictive, seducing spirits, whatever come out of the pit of hell, your body is accepted to it. So I want to urge you, because this is what they look like. But because I know there's people out there that have them in their home. But if you see someone like this come your way with something like this, or you do something like this, do what they done like this, and this is what we did back then. But this was not this was the other board, but it was not like this one. So just be careful. Just don't do it. But I'm Honey James. I'm here to warn you out of love, and just let you know that this world's good and evil. So you take care and be blessed, and stay aware and be careful of the other side, and stay prayed up to God. He'll protect you from this. Trust me, he protected me. He saved my life, saved my soul. It was the Most High God through His Son Yeshua. That's the only way that army is going to stand down when they see Jesus. The ones that come out of that board. Nothing else. No one else can do it, because you're dealing with another realm. You're dealing with eternity. So I just want to let people know and make a video, because this is something very important that people need to know. There are sorcerers, witches, warlocks, and all different type of people that this is one of the tools that they use. Some witches and some warlocks use this. Not all witches, but some.